It is said that if Jamaica was a brand, we would be the 6th most recognized brand in the world. Today we have greats in every sphere of society. I'm talking about teachers, doctors, pilots, entertainers, and of course, track and field. Our music and even a picture of our iconic reggae artist Bob Marley, a poster of his can be found in the Temple of Tibet. That's how far our vibe has reached. Now, even if you go out there on the streets or anywhere in the world you go, and somebody find out that you are from Jamaica and they're friendly, what you're going to hear? Some derivative of, hey man, wagwan, cool runnings, and
everything gonna be irie.
Yeah. And there is even some who thought that the song One Love, let's get together and feel alright, they thought that was our national anthem.
What's wrong with you?
Pound for pound, Jamaica, compared to its population size, punch way above its weight. It's legendary. So disclaimer from now, while we're doing this, there's some things I might forget from history. It's not a deliberate omission, and I might overlook some stuff, but don't take it as being very deliberate or anything. Now with that out of the way, let's take a crash course into Jamaica from when it found to where it is now. So Jamaica is part of the Caribbean. We are the 3rd largest island in the chain, and we're part of the Greater Antilles. Now to the north of Jamaica is Cuba, to the east of us is Hispaniola, nowadays Haiti, and Dominican Republic. Although I don't like stereotype, it's mostly what you see in the commercial. You have the long white sandy beaches on the north coast, palm trees, cool sea breeze. You drive along the south coast, it's idyllic. You see the rocks along the shoreline, the cool hills in Mandeville, deep valleys, Blue Mountain coffee, sunset in the grill. Yeah man, Jamaica nice. If this is what Jamaica is now, can you imagine what it was like over 2,000 years ago? That's where we're going to pick up the story. Now, the first known inhabitants, they were called Tainos. Not that they call themselves Tainos, that's what the name the Spaniards gave to them. It is said that in 1494, when Columbus came from the old world as Europe was known to the new world, which was the Caribbean, North, South America and everything, he saw Jamaica. And according to his diary, it said that this island is the fairest of all islands that he has ever laid his eyes on. So you can imagine, he's looking, he sees the natives on the island, and he says, hey, we got to go over there, introduce ourselves. I can imagine him getting into his rowboat, and they're rowing to shore, and then the Tainos are like, did you invite anybody? No, I thought you did. No, boat look amazing, look better than our canoe. Yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to invite them, we're going to be hospitable because that's who we are. Yeah man, we're going to do that. And that's what they did. Ooh, the irony. When the Spaniards did this, it was just the same thing done all along in the New World. So you can imagine, Columbus hop out of the boat and buenos dias and greetings and all that, my guy. Yeah, guy. Behold, I have come in the name of the Queen. What do you call this fair, beautiful island? And I kid you not, according to his journal entry, it is said that the Tainos call it Yamaye. That's the first early known name given by the natives to the island. So the original name, Jamaica, Yamaya or Zamaica, it means in the Taino Arawak thing, the land of spring or land of wood and water. So as time went by, you know, hospitality and everything, everybody enjoying themselves, the Spaniards went, hey man, where's the treasure? And the Taino is like, what treasure are you talking about? You don't see it all around you. Look. Everything irie, everything is here for you to enjoy. Be free and be merry. Spaniard go like, no, my youth, talking gold, silver, jewelry, all them things here. You know what, a matter of fact? I don't want to hear nothing from you. We're technologically more advanced than you, so we're going to claim all of this for ourselves. We're going to work you to death. We want the gold and silver. And a matter of fact, on top of that, we're going to say, we discovered this place. You call it Yamaya or Zamaica or whatever. No, we're going to call it Santiago. Why? Because we can do that. We're going to annex this place. It's ours now. And with that, the ironess moment done. The Spaniards enslaved them, and those that managed to escape. Those that didn't were assaulted in every way imaginable. And on top of that, when the Spaniards came, they brought with them disease that the locals never had. And as a result, they fell ill, they died, they wiped out. The remnants fled. And the Spaniards went eventually, oh Who is going to do the mining and the resources and everything for us so that we can be like kings? And one of them probably went, I know what we can do. Let's go back to the old world, sail along the Horn of Africa, grab some enslaved people who are captured, bring them over to the new world and let them do the farming. And I say, you know what? That's a good plan. And that's what they did. And that's how you had the first set of enslaved people. They came to Jamaica. And while they were there, and they were going on and they were doing their digging and everything, I can just imagine them toiling and looking into Blue Mountain Hills. And you say, the hills singing to them saying, don't worry, time for be free, time for be airy. Just wait until it's right, which is late in the night. And when the night comes, everything will be alright. Just run in. I just made that up on the fly. That sounds good to me. Anyway, that's what they did. They escaped to the hills. And that's how you had the first generation of Maroons. Generation 1 Maroon. That addressed what they went to and settled. It's not like the Spaniards are going to go, hey, we're going to go after you. You need to come back because you belong to us. You're our property. Although we'll take away your social security and we take away your health benefits and we're not paying you and we're going to treat you harshly, you need to come back. No. The Spaniards were a little smarter than that, so they turned a blind eye to those who escaped, kept what they could, and that was it. And that continued for a little over 100 years. And then after that, Britain decided to say, hey, Spain, we have beef with you. Yo, war going to kick off, you know. And then Oliver Cromwell led an armada. Under his leadership, you had General Robert Venables. And he said, anything in the New World that names Spanish, you're going to attack. And the first place my guy decided to go in April 1655 is Santo Domingo, Hispaniola. One of the most heavily fortified places the Spaniards had. And of course, they got their ass kicked because poorly executed attack, you know how that go. And then the British go, oh what we're going to do? We're in trouble. Where can we go? And they look and they say, I know, let's go to Jamaica. And that's what they did. Why? Because Jamaica is the least defended. So the British took approximately 7,000 troops. And the population at the time in Jamaica was about 4,000. And you know how that eventually got. They landed in Spanish Town. And that's how Braps, overnight, language changed from Spanish to English. And then the war back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Britain go, yo, we need reinforcement. This is where now they contacted the Buccaneers. Nice word for pirates. Hey, we have a proposal for you. Buccaneers went, all right, listening. We have an all-inclusive place for you. It's called Port Royal. You can have it. All you can eat, the merriment, the drink. You can spend all the loot there, have fun and everything. We'll just ask one thing. Just attack anything named Spanish on the high seas for us. And you can keep a percentage. We get a percentage. Just keep them in check. What? Say less. And then you had the battle kick off. So you had the Battle of Ocho that went on. That was from 1657. And you had the Battle of Rio Nuevo, right? That's in 1658. And in both battles, they whooped the Spaniards' ass, right? And then the Spaniards on the back feet said, Rockstone, no man, we have to come hard at them now. So them try rush them and everything. And that's when Juan de Bolas now, he was a Maroon leader from Generation 1 Maroon. Him look, scope out the thing and say, you know what happened? I have vengeance, you know, revenge is a dish best served cold. And then look at the British and say, yo, join your side, you know. So this was in 1660. And the Spaniards said, right, we'll lose now because Juan de Bolas gone over to the English. They let the rest of the slaves go as they could and then fled to Cuba. When they left, the Buccaneers still was rampaging and them still raiding the Spaniards. And Port Royal just started to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and they are having the whale of a time. You all see Spain go, yo, I could sign a treaty. You can have Jamaica. We're not interested anymore. British say, all right, cool. And then the British, hey, Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers are like, aye, partner. Yeah, about that partner thing. Yeah, what about it? Yeah, it's not a thing anymore.
I don't like where this is going.
And then the British just simply discard of them because they have no more use for them and executed those they could, imprisoned those they could. So the census at that time now bumped from 4,000 to 6,000. After a while, it started to increase. Ratio was 3-1 compared to like white to black. Then boom, the world just developed a sweet tooth. Everyone in the world wanted what? Sugar. And because of that, just like how you have oil is to Saudi Arabia and Dubai and UAE, that's how you have sugar to Jamaica. Sugar literally built the financial hub in Britain. And then Britain now perfected the plantation system where they managed to turn over a large amount of crop using enslaved people. Now this is where things get interesting. The first set of people were, call it slave light if you will, were Irish. These were the political prisoners of war. But then as time goes by, the population swelled, and then you had them making up a large part of the white population. So for every one Englishman, you have 3 Irish. As the boom continued and expanded exponentially, they realized that Irish and the other ones which they brought in to work the farm was not as sturdy and had the stamina like the Africans. So what did the British do? Borrow a bit of the playbook from the Spaniards. They went to England, got trinkets, got goods and stuff, went to the Horn of Africa, and they traded it for captured enslaved people. And they brought them over to the New World, particularly from the area known as the Bight of Biafra. So big up yourself, people in Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria, represent Jamaican brothers and sisters, say hail. These people who were enslaved and brought back to the New World, they look to the mountainside and hear the mountainside calling them just like the others from hundreds of years before and go, you know what we're going to do? Yeah, we're going to dig off. And that's what they did. And they formed their own communities aside from the first generation Maroon. So these became now the second generation Maroon. Unlike the Spaniards who look and turn a blind eye, the British went, "Aye there, mate. We got you. We brought you to the New World. You belong to us. So we're coming to your address to settle matters." And the Maroons went, "All right.
Bad man for you, the man who bad man for me. Must be bad in them dream."
This resulted in the first Maroon War that ended in a stalemate. So here's something very interesting, only very few people would realize. If you look at when history recorded the first Maroon War, it happened just before the American Revolutionary War. This is what I meant when I said, Jamaica set pace in things and they don't take no chat. Because of the stalemate of the first Maroon War, the British government sued for peace, and a treaty was signed between Cudjoe and Accompong in 1739, and again, the Maroons led by Qua and Queen Nanny in 1740. But that peace didn't last long.
I don't want peace. I want problems!
As long as there's slavery, there would be uprising, and that led to a large rebellion, and another war broke out called the Taki War, and this happened in 1760 that led to the Second Maroon War. But even after quelling that, the British decided to go money over all. As time got by and Jamaica developed more and more plantation, you had now enslaved people outnumbering the plantation owners 20-1. So the British homeland, the mainland now, decided, say, you know what, we're going to do some cosmetic changes so that we prevent a third war. You let them have a day off, they have their own market, they don't work as much. We're outlaw the whipping and the insane punishment. We're going to just tamper it down a little and just treat them a bit better.
You cannot trick me. You cannot trick me.
You know, this is what the mainland, people in their comfort, enjoying the money and enjoying the sugar, was telling Jamaican planters. And the Jamaican planters were like,
You serious?
no, we resent your law. We going to do it our way, the way we see fit, because you know what? We send money to you, so you shouldn't even have any say in it. The slave owners felt like if they did it, there might be a revolt, but they didn't count on if they didn't do it, there would still be a revolt, and that's what happened.
God, please, no, no.
So in 1831, there was another huge slave rebellion, and this time led by a religious leader known as the First Baptist War. This one was Sam Sharp. And let me tell you, this one went crazy. Hundreds died, a lot of plantation burnt to the ground, and plantation owners got killed. And as a reprisal, the plantation owner went back after those people and slaughtered who they could to try to oppress, to bring it under control. Although unsuccessful, it did trigger Britain to outlaw slavery throughout his empire in 1834, with full emancipation from chattel slavery in 1838. The resulting labor shortage caused the British Empire to seek indentured servants from elsewhere. So what did they do? They went to India. In 1845, you had the first wave of workers coming over from India working the field. And that's how you had the Indian population in Jamaica. And then in 1854, you had the Chinese workers coming into Jamaica to work the field. Shout out to my Hakka community, you don't know. So over the next 20 years, you had an economic slump. And along with it came a lot of dissatisfaction that went along racial divides that was exasperated by the planters.
What?
As a result, you had a rebellion breaking out. And this time now, it was a Morant Bay Rebellion. This one led by Paul Bogle. Now, the empire struck back.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
The governor at the time, John Eyre, did it with such brutality that the mainland went, you know what? We need to call him back. I mean, we sent him there to have a firm hand, but damn! His successor, John Peter Grant, came in and decided to say, you know what we're going to do? We need to be more equitable, okay? We're going to do some political reform, we're going to do some financial reform, some social reform. We're going to have to establish firm rule because these planters can't manage themselves. Jamaica became a crown colony a year later in 1866. Crown colonies is basically, look, you can't self-govern, okay? We have to do it for you. So we're going to send people to do it on our behalf. 1872, the capital was moved from Spanish Town. A lot of people didn't know that, and it was transferred to Kingston. But the TV drama that Jamaica is, it didn't stop there. In 1907, Jamaica was struck by an earthquake. Between 800 to 1,000 persons died. And in Kingston, there was a lot of destruction. But that's for another episode. Moving on. Unemployment and poverty remained a problem. Various movements seeking political change rose as a result. Most notably, the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, and the African Community League. Those are founded by Marcus Garvey in 1917, as well as seeking greater political rights and an improvement for the condition of workers. Garvey was also a prominent Pan-Africanist and proponent of Back to Africa movement. So you can see how incredible it is that the United States talk about him a lot more and took an interest in him a lot more than we do. That's a child of Jamaican soil. They speak of Jamaica, a speck on the globe, but its impact worldwide is phenomenal. Literally, Jamaica is a honey badger of the world.
It really doesn't give a shit.
The Great Depression that happened in the 30s really had a ripple effect throughout the whole world. And Jamaica didn't escape. Throughout the Caribbean, you had in the British Empire a lot of strikes. But Jamaica, it was strike upon strike upon strike. And it culminated in the great 1938 strike and riot. And because of this, Britain had to enact some form of reform, right, to address the situation right throughout. And because of it, you had the birth of two political parties. And ironically, it came because Bustamante, who was locked up, became a key figure of the riot. And Norman Manley, who helped bail him out, right, became a key figure in another party. And because of that, you had the PNP, the JLP. It's all in one family. Anyway, this is where you had the birth of the two-party system in Jamaica. That is for another episode. So in 1962, Jamaica gained its independence, still part of the Commonwealth, and Bustamante became Jamaica's first prime minister. So strong economic growth at 6% per year over year continued for Jamaica for the first 10 years. True to form, Jamaica was chill. It maintained a strong relationship with Britain, US, but it didn't align themselves and leave anybody out. It still had connections with Cuba, and therefore it became a non-aligned country. It is said that many Jamaicans were concerned with that growth that the government was experiencing under the JLP was not being shared with the everyday Jamaican. They left the countryside, came into town seeking jobs. It's not like they could leave town to go back to the countryside to live at that time. So as a result, you had a lot of shanty towns and informal housing popping up all over the place. This created a lot of tension because it felt like social structure wasn't there to support them, and as a result, the unhappiness and the dissatisfaction with the government led in 1972 to the PNP being put in power under the leadership of Michael Manley. According to history, the Manley government enacted various social reforms such as higher minimum wage, land reform, legislation for women's equality, greater housing construction, and an increase in educational provisions. Internationally, he improved the relations with the communist bloc, Cuba, and other places, and vigorously opposed the apartheid regime in South Africa. And South Africa was like, who the hell is this little pipsqueak country taking on the might of open apartheid central? Jamaica is a honey badger of nation. It really don't give a shit. However, Jamaica economy by that time began to falter. Between the oil shocks and being caught between two major superpowers, it really didn't help to be caught between USSR, that was close to Cuba, and USA, and you have this little thing happening in the backyard. And that created a lot of political tension and turmoil for Jamaica in the mid-late 70s. The rivalry between the PNP and the JLP was very intense, and that part of our history was very, very dark. I mean, you had hundreds who died, and it was just really tearing the country apart. However, during that election in 1980, the JLP came to power. As of this podcast, in the 2020 general election, Andrew Holness made history for the JLP by accomplishing a second consecutive win for the Jamaica Labour Party. According to the World Bank, since 2013, successive governments in Jamaica have successfully implemented fiscal consolidation measures, reducing the public debt to GDP ratio by more than 60 percentage points to 74.2% of GDP in 2023 to 2024 financial year, the lowest level in 25 years. According to the IMF, the outlook for Jamaica economy is positive, but remains subject to tighter global financial risk conditions, lower global growth, and of course, natural disasters. But as you can see from our history, Jamaica motto out of many one people really rings true. Our culture has strong global presence. The music genre of reggae, ska, menta, rocksteady, dub, and more recently dancehall all originated from our island vibrant popular urban recording industry. Our authors are legendary in their own right. We're talking Roger Mays, a journalist, a poet, a playwright for so many short plays, journalist and author H.D. DeLissa, author of The White Witch of Rose Hall. Marlon James, novelist, particularly noted for penning A Brief History of 7 Killings. Then Jamaica can be an inspiration for generational billion-dollar books and movies. You're talking about Ian Fleming, who had a home in Jamaica where he spent considerable time repeatedly using the island as a setting in his James Bond novels. Live and Let Die, Dr. No, For Your Eyes Only, that were made into movies. Speaking about movies, Jamaica has a film industry dating back to the early 1960s. You're talking about like Jimmy Cliff, Harder They Come, Rockers, Dancehall Queen, One Love, Shutters, Out the Gate, Third World Cup, and Kingston Paradise. The island is famous for its jerk chicken, red striped beer, rice and peas. So I mean, like, what is there that's not to love about Jamaica? And then on top of that, Jamaicans go, you know what? Let us tackle sports. And that's what we did. The country was one of the venues for 2007 Cricket World Cup. If I decided to go down this rabbit hole of track and field, this podcast won't end, but trust me, we have been stamping our name all over the globe in this domain. Let us not forget the great George Headley, Courtney Walsh, Chris Gayle, Michael Holden. Then we went, let's do football. The national team qualified for the 1998 FIFA World Cup. The Jamaican women national football team had represented Jamaica at the FIFA Women's World Cup at 2 stages, 2019 and in 2023. Jamaica bobsled team, who was once a serious contender for the Winter Olympics and who inspired the movie Cool Runnings. And netball is very popular on the island. And of course, we have our Sunshine Girls, and they have always been in the top 5. I can't never recall them being below that. And here's a little trivia that you might not know. Many Jamaicans didn't know that we even won a bronze medal in cycling at the Olympics in 1980. If you look it up, you'll find that we have professional athletes in it. Baseball, basketball, track and field, football globally. So in case you haven't figured it out by now, I'm a proud Jamaican, a son of one of the greatest nations on earth. So this is a crash course on Jamaica history. Not conclusive, but I hope it was informative. So until then, my friends, take care, walk good. Thanks for being a part of Imagine This. Like, subscribe. See you in the next episode. One love.